Let's move on to West Ham, which is Wednesday night. Now, they scraped past Kidderminster in the last round. What sort of game can we expect in the Cup, Ben, on Wednesday?
I think it'll be a tough test. We know what to expect from West Ham, don't we? They're a big physical side. I was looking at their lineups against Kidderminster. Obviously, before that, they played Leeds and they played pretty much the first 11 with Areola in goal. So I think they will probably turn up with a strong side on Wednesday night. I think, to be fair to them, my view on the sort of owners and stuff like that is probably like many Saints fans and probably many football fans. But to be fair, I think David Moyes, when he came in for the second stint, he said something along the lines of winning is what I do. And I sort of scoffed at that a little bit. And to be fair to him, that's what he's done. He's turned them into a really good competitive side. We've done well against them this season, which is unlike us, drawing at home, winning up there. It was a fantastic Boxing Day result, wasn't it? But yeah, I'd go back to what I said earlier. For me, we're pretty much safe. Dan thinks we're already safe. I think we can give the Cup a good run. We can go out there. The pressure's off a little bit. There's no embarrassment in losing to West Ham like there might be if it was a potential banana skin like the Coventry game. So I think Saints are on the up and they can go out there and play with confidence and take their focus off the league for a little bit and just have a good go.
So is the game more important for us, Steve, or West Ham, do you think? Are they going to have their eyes on the league and maybe not on the Cup?
Yeah, I think they're in the position they're in where, let's be honest, their form the last 6 weeks has been pretty wretched for the most part. They, by the sound of it, they played quite well today and deserve to win. But for the most part, pretty much since the turn of the year, they've been a little bit ropey defensively. Conceded a lot more goals than they did in the first half of the season, and of course they've had the Kurt Zouma distraction as well. But they should be looking at trying to get in the top four. I think West Ham have obviously got a lot of games coming up. They've got 2 very difficult games with Sevilla to come in the midweeks immediately after this Cup game. And you would imagine that the priority for them will be kind of a combination of the Premier League and the Europa League. I would imagine. It would take something pretty spectacular for them to not be back in Europe next season through their league position. But while they've still got a chance of getting top 4, I think that's got to be their priority, and I would expect their team selection to slightly reflect that. Although I do kind of also qualify that with the fact that they don't have a huge amount of depth in their squad. Antonio has no backup. They continue to run him into the ground, which I find absolutely extraordinary given his injury record. And we've obviously seen their defensive record when their first choice centre backs aren't available. So yeah, I would make us probably slight favourites, depending on what. I don't see any reason why we don't put our full strength side out Wednesday. There's no real reason to kind of make any wholesale changes. That's for sure.
You're nodding there, Dan. Will you just be happy if this one's done in 90 minutes and we don't need to worry about extra time?
I don't have to put a paper together, so it's fine. I'm happy for extra time, penalties, the lot. I'm all for it. I think I agree with everything Steve said. Really, it's for me, West Ham. They've got bigger fish to fry. I think their target is Champions League, isn't it? They're a couple of points off United. I think that will be their focus. My colleague Rashane, our West Ham correspondent, wrote a piece. It was at the end of last week or this week, saying that, as Steve mentioned, that West Ham are just running Antonio into the ground, and you have to rest him for this game. I'm sure Southampton would be quite happy if that's the case. Again, agree with Steve. If I was Ralph, I'd make 2 or 3 changes at most. I don't think you need to make any more than that. It's not worth it. And if I was playing up front, I'd probably wear a few more shin pads, bearing in mind who they've got in defence.
Ben, who starts for you on Wednesday? What changes? I can imagine Stuart Armstrong perhaps won't, because we'll save him for the weekend. But what about the rest of the team? Would you make a few changes?
Yeah, I think ultimately I was thinking earlier, we're going to have a day and a half extra rest, which I know at this time of the season probably isn't massive, but it's a little bit, isn't it? So maybe there'll be players that will recover before Wednesday night that might not have otherwise. I think potentially, do we know if Nathan Redmond will be back for that? If he is, then that's probably
he's fit. Redmond's
right.
Fit,
so that's potential straight swap with Armstrong, isn't it? But I mean, otherwise, I don't know if he'll play Caballero. He played quite well in the last round, didn't he? A couple of good saves at the end. Will he give him a run out? Given that they've obviously then got the game next weekend as well. So I go back to what I said earlier, Martin. I don't think they should make loads and loads of changes. I think he should go. And to be fair to Ralph, in the time that he's been here, in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, he's always taken them seriously with his lineup. So I don't think he will make loads and loads of changes. But I think potentially Stuart Armstrong having a rest and maybe the goalkeeper, and potentially Perot getting a game at left back, that sort of thing. But otherwise, I think just go with what you got.
Not bad players to come in, are they? Not bad players to come in. One of the questions we had from last week was, do we want a cup run or do we want top 10? Steve, it seemed more pertinent perhaps to mention that this week before we go into the West Ham game. Or I guess the other thing is both.
Why not both? I mean, they're not mutually exclusive. And particularly with Brighton faltering, Villa seemingly not. I mean, they obviously won at Brighton yesterday, but they don't seem to be any great shakes. Everton nowhere near. Newcastle too far behind, and Palace not really doing an awful lot either. So, yeah, I mean, it's basically us and Wolves for around that 8th and 9th position. I don't think. Not convinced that Wolves are good enough to overhaul Spurs when Spurs have got Kane and Son playing as they did yesterday. So I think it's I mean we're fairly well kind of placed at the moment for the league. I think realistically we're not looking too far up, but we don't have to look over our shoulder at all.
And barring any injuries, Dan, the club will want the same, won't they? Cup run, top 10. That's the aim from the start of the season.
Yeah, without a doubt, I don't see them sacrificing one for the other. I look at their next 4 fixtures in the league, but you could make a case for them winning every single game of those 4. If they do that, then top 10 is, in my eyes, top 10 would be pretty much done. They're not going to miss out on top 10 if they do that. I think they just need to take, if they can take advantage of the momentum they're in over the next kind of 3 to 4 weeks, then they will find themselves in an FA Cup quarterfinal and they'd have top 10 in the bag.
Happy days.
Sounds easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Claude Puel days all over again. Amazing. The good times are back. Let's do predictions then. It was a point each last week. Everybody correctly predicted that we would win. Nobody getting the exact score. If you are watching the live stream, feel free to stick your predictions in the comments just for a bit of guidance. Steve, do you want to go first? How do you see the West Ham game playing out in the Cup?
I think we'll, as I say, we'll go in as slight favourites, and I think we'll probably show that. So yeah, why not 3 on the bounce? 2-0.
2-0. Dan, how do you reckon?
2-1.
2-1. I'm making a note of these so we don't have to go through and listen to all the pods. Okay. Glen has also sent his predictions in. He went for 2-1 as well. But Ben, feel free to jump on just for fun. What do you reckon?
Well, I spent 4 years as a host, Martin, predicting Saints to lose every week. So I feel like as a panelist now, I should go for a win. But yeah, no, I'd probably go 2-1 after extra time. I think it'll be one of those sort of, there won't be many chances, but they'll just edge through and we'll take that. Josh
White says, we seem to like a 2-0 lately.
Classic Jose team.
A lot of 2-1s as well, and a 3-2 in there.